Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be finding your balance and overcoming your fears. I've got an email here from a viewer, and he says, "Hi Corey, I just wanted to say you've got amazing videos that you post all the time, and since reading your book and referring back to it all the time and watching your videos, my love life has improved a lot. However, I find that repetition is definitely the mother of all skills, and this typical mistake that I made, you always mention how men try to force things along and they want the cake, so to speak, to bake faster." It's like the analogy that I use all the time. It's getting a woman's sexual attraction and anticipation and tension to build towards you is much like putting a cake in the oven. And so when you put a cake in the oven, it's got a certain amount of time that it's got to be heated, and then the dough or the cake has to rise. But what happens is if you keep opening the door, going, "Is it done yet?" and you let all the heat out of the oven, what happens is the cake ends up deflating and you end up ruining the cake, just like you ruin sexual tension and anticipation. It's like in essence, you let it all out before it's fully ready to bloom and be eaten, so to speak. And this is typical, and because part of the problem is us as guys, we look at things, because masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing things in life. And so it's like we try to take that same kind of mentality, like going after a job that we want or starting a business that we want. It's like we take the same mentality towards attracting the kind of woman we want. It's like we figure we can just do all kinds of action and do things basically to get her to love us more, to get her to want to be with us. And it's actually, most of the time, it's just the opposite. Less really is more. The idea is that you want to communicate that you're comfortable in your own skin. You communicate your desire, obviously, by asking her out and taking her out on a date. But the key is to find a balance between hanging back too much and pushing too hard. So it's kind of right in the middle, where you basically act like an emotionally healthy guy who goes for the things he wants. If a girl's unavailable or she can't make it, or she's busy or whatever, no big deal. He walks away feeling like, hey, it's her loss, and he goes on about his life. Now, other guys that haven't overcome this, in their mind, they think, oh, I have to do something. I have to try more. I have to ask her out more times. I got to try harder. And so they try harder. They call more. They contact her more, thinking that that's what it's going to take. Or they'll resort to talking on the phone continuously, but never actually setting dates and going out with a girl. And then, because I talk to so many guys. I have a friend in my own life right now. He has this girl that he's dating, and she's constantly jerking him around and canceling plans. He's like, we talk every day. And he's like, when I'm around him, he's constantly on the phone texting her or talking to her, but she never comes over to see him. And like, they had plans to do something together this weekend, a nice boat trip and everything, and she just fucking canceled for some total BS fucking reason. And what's really going on is she's using an excuse about some drama going on in her life, but what the real reason is she just ain't feeling it. She doesn't want to be around him because he's basically become a male girlfriend, someone that she leans on for moral support whenever she needs somebody to talk to. And he's fallen into the trap of always being available 24/7 because he's pretty much semi-retired. And so what happens is whenever she calls, he answers the phone. And he's there and he talks to her until she gets tired of talking to him, and then she ends the phone conversation. And then he makes plans to go and do something and spends a bunch of money to buy tickets and book the rooms and stuff. And then she just blows him off the last minute. Oh, I got this going on. And he just buys the excuse and swallows it, hook, line, and sinker. Yet this is his girlfriend, but yet he only sees her once or twice a month. It's like, that's not his girlfriend. You're a male girlfriend. You're not her lover. You don't. When somebody loves you and they want to be with you, they're calling you constantly. They're blowing up your phone. And the way you need to handle the phone is you simply arrange the next opportunity to get together for sex to happen. When a girl reaches out to you and texts you, oh, hey, I was thinking about, I got this going on at work and blah, blah, blah. This girl said this and blah, 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 and I'm really upset about it. And you just say, oh, wow, well, why don't we talk about it over dinner? When are you free to get together this week? well, I'm free tonight, or I'm free tomorrow. I was like, great. Well, how about I pick you up 8 o'clock tonight? Or how about I bring a bottle of wine over and bring some food, and we'll make food together. We'll cook out in the grill. She's like, oh, that sounds great. And then you get together, and then you have a meal together, and you have some wine or some tea or whatever it is if you're not a drinker. And you sit and you shoot the shit, and you let her talk, and blah, blah. And then she'll at some point go, oh, I'm so glad we talked. I feel so much better. Thanks for listening, baby. And you say, great. Well, why don't you come over here and get a little sugar now? Never come over and sit in your lap and start fooling around with her, and then move onto the couch, and then maybe into the bedroom, and have great indoor Olympics. That's just simply the way it's supposed to go. But if you go along with a girl always calling you and texting you and feeling like you got to be there for her, you'll be there all right, but you'll always be there digitally. So instead of having a girlfriend, you'll have a virtual pretend girlfriend, and a really bad case of blue balls, because you're always hoping that if you're just nice enough and you just hang out enough and talk to her enough on the phone, that she's going to want to be around you and want to spend time with you. And the key is to learn to find that balance between setting dates and back, because like I say all the time, it's like a woman should be doing, if you're doing everything right, according to the stuff I teach in my book, a woman should be doing 70 to 80% of the calling, texting, and pursuing. And you do that by simply taking measured steps. It's like you just start going out with a girl once a week, meaning you initiate contact once a week. And then what happens, usually by the second or third week, she's reaching out to you a couple days after your date saying, oh, hey, I had a great time the other night. I was thinking about you, how wonderful it was, and can't wait to see you again. And you just simply say, hey, great to hear from you. You make your next date. And that's all you do. And so usually by the third or fourth weekend in a relationship, because she's calling and texting you several times during the week, and instead of chit-chatting back and forth on the phone, you simply arrange a date, a definite day and place and time to get together. And as opposed to solving her problems on the phone electronically or over text or messaging, you just say, well, why don't we get together for dinner? You can tell me all about it then, and that way I can give you my undivided attention. And that's the way you need to handle it, because you fall in the trap like this family member of mine did, and then you're going to get fucking jerked around. And it's like, he loves this girl, and so he's totally blinded because he's projecting his high interest, and he's just ignoring all the red flags. And I tell him, it's like, he knows what I do for a living, but it's like, he's older, he's set in his ways, and he doesn't want to listen. And he's just like, okay, well, when you get tired of getting jerked around, you get tired of blowing thousands of dollars arranging trips just to have her fucking cancel at the last minute, then let me know. I'll be happy to help you. And so back to this email here. So he says, so he's talking about the cake analogy, waiting to see if is it done yet, opening the oven and deflating the sexual tension. He says, well, that was me this weekend. He says, I'm 46 and I'm dating a 41-year-old. And he says, terrible, I know. It's like, nothing terrible about it. I like beautiful young women too, man. He says, anyway, her feelings for me are starting to grow to the point of love, but I tried to force things along, not in a bad way, but in the typical scenario of, is it ready yet? Do you love me yet? He says, it's until you make the mistakes that a lot of your superb advice kicks in. And that's why I say it's so important to get to know the information in my book so well. Is because when you fall in love with a girl, when you're dating a hot fucking 21-year-old and she's fucking your brains out and she makes you feel like a 20-year-old again, it's hard to do the right things. It's hard to say no to a girl like that. But if it's something that you don't want to do, you have to say no. If she wants to talk to you on the phone, talk to her in person over dinner. Just say, I'm really busy right now, but I definitely want to hear what's going on. How about we get together for dinner? Or how about we get together for a drink? Or why don't you come by my place later and we'll have some cocktails and maybe we'll have a couple snacks together. Maybe I'll grill something out. And then you invite her over. And then that way she comes over and you spend time. And so she's got all this pent-up frustration. But when you stay on the phone, you relieve all of the sexual tension over the phone. And so there's no reason for her to get together with you. But at the same token, it's like if she ain't feeling it, just like this family member I was telling you about, she ain't feeling it. Deep down, he knows it. So he's trying to force things. He's trying to force himself into her life and trying to solve all of her problems and get into her legal issues and her divorce dramas and this and that and her personal problems and her health problems, and just trying to solve all of her stuff and fix her, because he's like thinking like a guy logically, oh, if I just fix and solve all of her problems, then she won't, all the stuff that she keeps saying is getting in the way of our spending time together. Then once all that stuff's gone, then she'll spend all the time with me. And that's not what's going on. She's using the excuses, and that's why you always look at a woman's actions. It doesn't matter what she's saying, you just look at what she does. And if you're doing anything right, she's going to be spending a lot of time with you. And if you're not doing everything, you're not doing much right, you're going to spend probably a lot of time talking on the phone, but not getting anywhere and not really seeing each other. Because the only way to make a girl fall in love with you is to spend time with her. So he says, I managed to stop myself in time, but until you live the mistakes and review and learn from them, it's like the advice is only potential knowledge. He says, this other girl that you advised me on lives in another country. She lives in Portugal. She comes over to the UK now once in a while to spend time with me, thanks to your advice. He says, I just walked away. I treated her like a cat, and I didn't hear from her for a few months. And then she got in contact, told her to come over, and she said okay. And she got all the tickets booked, and I left it to its own thing. It's amazing what happens when you arrange, listen to this, when you arrange dates and focus only on having a great time. Once again, thanks very much for your brilliant work. And so here's this guy. He's got a couple different women he's dating. He's got this 21-year-old, obviously, that he really likes that lives near him. But he's got other girls that were jerking him around. And so he just let them go and have their space and just said, hey, give me a call when you want to come visit me. And so he doesn't hear from them for a couple of months, and then they date the 97% of the guys out there that don't know what they're doing. And then a few months later, even after he'd acted weak and needy, she calls him up, and then she comes over. They hook up for a week or whatever, and then she goes back, kind of like just basically like a nice open relationship. And that's the key. It's like women are like cats. You just got to let them come and go as they please. And when they reach out to you, make a date with them. And when you don't hear from them, just simply stick to once a week calling for a date. But if you're doing everything right, usually by the third or fourth week in, from the time you met the girl and went out on your first date, she'll usually be texting you 2 or 3 times a week. And then you'll probably be seeing each other more than once a week. But at the end of the day, you really only, I mean, if she's calling you 3 or 4 times a week, then you're not really even initiating any contact at that point. You're just simply responding to her initiated messages. And when it's a powerful place to be as a man. I can't stress this enough. It's like this is the way things are. This is the way they should be. It's like you give women what they need in order to feel comfortable, and they will see you and perceive you as their source of strength and love and masculine energy, and they're going to want to talk to you and reach out to you all the time. And then you just simply, by being direct, because feminine energy tends to be up in the air, and that's why they'll call you, but they're not necessarily going to ask you to do something. That's why you got to be the man, and you just simply arrange a definite day and time and stick to keeping the phone and Skype and all of those things as simply a way to arrange dates. So if you have a question you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen, and send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max. Just give me several days to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which will be at the top of your screen. Just follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, on the right-hand side of my website, underneath the email sign-up box, is a box that has a link that'll take you right to the Amazon Kindle download page. Once you get there, if you don't have a Kindle device, you can download a free e-reader app for your smartphone, tablet device, or your computer. It only takes a matter of seconds to download and install the app and complete the purchase of my book. And if you appreciate the value of the information I offer in these videos and the articles on my website, you can show your appreciation by going to my website, and on the Wibbia toolbar, which is at the bottom of your screen, click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. And I will talk to you soon.